He races it off the glass.
Oh, what a block by Anderson. Howard with another block. Man among boys. Blocked by the center. Rejected by Horford. Look out below.
Sensational shot. Real fun. And that baby on the jam that'll bring this house down.
Hello again, basketball fans, and welcome to NBA.com's fantasy preview for the centers. Rick Camlin, Dennis Scott. We're here to break down the top 10 centers, talk sleepers, talk buyer beware guys, talk rookies, and all that good stuff. And you know a thing or two about feeding the big fella, getting the center happy, making the center happy. I remember you playing with a guy back in the day.
Back in 95, a guy, I think he has so many different names, but when you got a center like Shaquille O'Neal who makes life easy for you, helped me get a lot of my three-point shots, it makes the game run a lot smoother for you.
Help you make some of that money too, didn't it?
Oh, no question about it.
Shaq, chill out. You're coming up in just a moment as we talk about the top 10 centers in fantasy basketball, but we want to tell you how we play. Let's set the framework for you here. There's 5 cats, okay? Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Some leagues cap it right there. We go farther. We go 8 cat, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and threes.
And for centers, the free throw percentage category gets a little shaky, and we know the threes, they're harder than any threes.
But there are some centers who hit, like Mehmet Okur, guys like that, and it makes them very, very valuable. And so that's how we play. Now, we want to tell you about the ESPN, NBA.com fantasy basketball project. These two great websites have come together. As you can see, it is snazzy. You go to ESPN Fantasy, NBA.com. It's live scoring. They have a live draft. They have analysis. They have player rankings. Everything you need to get it done, beating your buddies, beating your office mates in fantasy basketball. So go check it out, ESPN, NBA.com. Fantasy basketball. We now tip off our coverage of centers from a fantasy perspective with the top 10 through 6 in this segment. And let's talk about David Lee of your New York Knicks. He's a power forward who's playing the 5. But you know what? D'Antoni did that a few years ago with Amari Stoudemire, moving him from 4 to 5. That worked out okay, and last year it worked out great for Lee.
Well, it works out great from the standpoint that Lee is the Energizer Bunny. He runs the floor. He attacks the rim. He plays defense. He dives on the floors. So outside of the free throws and three-point category, I look for Lee to stuff the stats.
And the thing that Lee doesn't do is give you the defensive goodies, but the double-doubles are nice, and he's 10. And here we come to your good friend, Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest centers in the history of the NBA. And, you know, some people say, now why, he's 9th? Well, the reason he's 9th is last year only 1.4 blocks. So the days of him blocking 2 a game are done. And he played 75 games last year, which was incredible. But can he play that many games again? Those are the 2 big questions for me.
Well, I think the games will still be there. I think he calls himself the big snowman now because he's in Cleveland. He used to being in Florida, he used to being in California. So now he has to put on his boots and his hard hat because he's in cold Ohio now.
And no longer the tropical big man.
No longer the tropical big man. He's the big snowman now.
But are you feeling a good year from Shaq, stat-wise?
Stat-wise, he still will shoot 60% or above. He still will probably get 10 rebounds. The block shots will be down. And, of course, the free throw shooting will be iffy. I love you, big fella, but we know how you go up and down with the free throw shooting.
Okay, so now who's ahead of Shaq, you're saying? Well, at 8, we have Al Horford of Dennis Scott's Atlanta Hawks. I say that because he does radio work with the Hawks each and every game and a great job at it. Now, Al Horford, this guy gets better year after year. Do you see him having a breakout year or just another good year on the way to really putting it all together?
Another steady year. Because he's playing with Joe Johnson and Mike Bibby and Josh Smith, he doesn't get the touches where he could possibly be a 25-10 guy. But 18-10 or 18-12 are still solid numbers for a guy playing on a good team.
And he raised the shot blocking last year, and presumably that will keep going up as the games get more important for the Atlanta Hawks, trying to get that 4th spot in the East and get out of the second round and all that kind of stuff. It's basically all good for Al Horford. He's on a nice little rise as a fantasy player, and he is at 8. Now, at 7, I'm kind of going out on a little bit of a limb here. Dennis does not necessarily agree with this. I got Bynum at 7. His goal this year is to make the All-Star team. And before he got hurt last year, he was at about a 14-10 clip, 14-8, as you can see right there. Then the knee injury, and then it's sort of all unraveled for him from a stat perspective. But I'm bullish on him this year. I know you disagree.
I disagree. I think he's a good player, but I don't see the passion for the game. I don't see the summertime. He's worked on different moves. I just see a 7-foot guy lumbering up and down the court, doing some good things, but not a guy you can say, you know what, I want to throw the ball on the post to him. He can get me some buckets. Free throw shooting, so forth. But we know he's not going to shoot any threes, so I don't see him being a stat stuffer this year.
What do you make? Do you look at it? Do you look at it as a negative that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not going to be doing too much coaching with him this year, and that Kareem said, at this point of his career, I'm not so sure I can help him anymore? Well,
hearing that come from Kareem, one of the best centers to ever do it, adds to my advice that he's not going to have a stat-filling year, because if Kareem's not helping you, then who's going to help you, big fella?
Well, we'll see how it works out. And Kurt Rambis was their big man coach last year. He's now in Minnesota, but they still have a great staff out there in L.A. I happen to be a plus on Bynum. He's a minus. We'll see how it works out. Number 6 is Marcus Camby of the Los Angeles Clippers. This is my vibe on him. When it matters, when it counts, when it's important, I think Camby really plays well and really gives his all. Last year, it was just a despicable year for the L.A. Clippers, and I just don't think that he was that engaged. I think he's going to be engaged this year.
Well, we know his defense, we know his shot blocking, we know his rebounding. But Baron Davis and Blake Griffin, all those guys have to be on the court so he can get all the other stats. And if you don't have Baron Davis playing well, now you don't have that point guard getting him easy shots. We know about his shot blocking. We know about the rebounding. He's a professional. He's been in the NBA a long time now. Stats would be 50-50 in my opinion.
Okay, so you're not that crazy about him either. I see Camby at least a double-double, 2 blocks, a steal, solid percentages. Camby, I'm into you, baby. So that's 10 through 6. And hopefully more disagreements coming on the other side when we talk about 5 down to 1. We're coming back with the super centers. The men in the middle that are going to rock your fantasy league. Wouldn't it be nice to have Dwight Howard blocking 3 shots a game on your fantasy team?
Oh, my goodness. Dwight, get that shot out of here.
Where's he going this year stat-wise? We tell you next.